Today we will visit a small peak which lies directly to the north of Puerto Pollenca, the Talaia Vella, which means Old Watchtower in Catalan, and it has an altitude of 353 metres. We start either from the bus stop or parking on the service road along the bypass. After a rocky ascent to the summit, passing through two pre-tayolitic walls, we will see the remains of the Talaia. From there, we will descend towards an obvious small roundabout above Cala St Vincente, returning to the port via the Sillar Pass. The spectacular scenery you will encounter most of the way is certainly worth this 2.5-hour excursion. So, let's get out there. This is the central bus station in Puerto Pollenca, where the 301 bus from Palma will stop. From here, with the roundabout on our left, we immediately cross the bypass and turn left, heading back towards Palma. On the way, we can see the parking available on the service road. Within about 5 minutes of leaving the bus stop, we take the first road on our right. We are now walking through a narrow lane called Cala St Vincente. From this lane, we have an excellent view of our summit, which lies at the left-hand end of the Bernat Ridge. At the end of the lane, we turn right along the Carrer dels Lledis and continue on this road for about 5 minutes. With a few twists and turns, we eventually come to a long straight road, which is ascending towards its end. Where the road ends, we see there is a footpath leading off diagonally right. This is where we start our climb. And as we come out of the wooded area, we can see our objective, or the first of our objectives, up there, that flat col. After a while you'll reach this boulder here, and the cairns want to take you off round the left, and I think that's good advice. Once again, the cairns are taking us off left. Looks like we're going to skirt right under this big crag up here, which will probably be certainly the easiest way. So, between 20-25 minutes after starting the climb, we've reached the col, the one that I suggested we need to do as our first objective. Now from here, we take a traverse across the mountain, and then after 5 or 10 minutes we'll start an ascending traverse. We need to get right over to the left hand ridge where we can see Cala St Vincente. Yeah, I think what is quite important is that you do keep an eye on the cairns, because they do start after 5 to 10 minutes going uphill and traversing across. If you miss that and keep traversing, you have to do what I just did actually. I missed them, and it took me 10 minutes out of my way, then I had to vertically come up and meet the line of cairns again. So it's important that you keep an eye up as well as going along, yeah? So, after about 20-25 minutes after leaving that first little col, we've reached the left hand if you're ascending it, of course, or the right hand if you're descending, of the ridge going up to the Talaia. There's Cala St Vincente. Beautiful. So I've just retraced my steps back along the cairns about 100 metres from the edge, and I've come across this big cairn. This signifies the way up to the Talaia. It's about 20 metres down from the tayolitic wall, and that's where we start to go up. So we're going to ascend up to the Talaia really at the right hand edge of this tayolitic wall. Here we are, a few minutes above the lower one. We're approaching the second of the structures. These walls were probably defensive structures created by stacking large dry stone blocks on top of each other. They were constructed in strategic positions and could be several meters wide. The tayolitic period is a prehistoric culture that existed in Majorca and Menorca from the late Bronze Age and early Iron Age, roughly from about 1000 BC through to the Roman invasion of 123 BC. This period was characterized not only by the monumental architecture created, notably the round or square towers called taliots, but also other large stone ceremonial and territorial structures. Some outstanding examples of these stone taliots and other tayolitic constructions can be found locally at sites around Syntheus and Kostic. So, after about 5 or 6 minutes of ascending from the two walls, we reach this area here, which is a green plateau. It's just below the summit of the Vella. In the background here, you can see the Cala Ridge. It's a great AA scramble. But today our objective is a Talaia. So we go round to the right here, and just be aware there may be a couple of places where you need to put hands on. Okay? So we've arrived at the summit of the Talaia, and that iron pole there signifies that. What a beautiful view this is, right out to the Formentor Peninsula, and then the Cala St Ridge. How beautiful is that? These blocks here look like this is all that remains of the Talaia. So what else can we see from up here? If I pan round, we can see obviously the Bay of Pollenca, and in the distance there it's the Alcudia Peninsula, with the Arta Peninsula right in the distance there, and the Bay of Alcudia. Coming around, it's the hills of St Marti, and then coming all the way around to the Tramontana. How wonderful is that? At the other end of the summit gives us a beautiful view down into Cala St Vincente. So after soaking up all those views from the summit here, truly magnificent, it's time to make our way down. So what we're going to do is just retrace our steps using the cairns, get down to the lower wall, and I'll join you there. See you soon. After 5 or 6 minutes of descent from the summit, here we are again at the large cairn below the lower wall. What we need to do is to follow the cairns and ascend towards Cala St Vincente and not Puerto Pollenca, where we came. After descending from the summit about 15 minutes, the cairns start to bring us over to the right hand side. That's the way that we want to go, and we need to err even further right when we hit this big clump of fan palm, because we're going to try and pick up a path that will lead us down to a roundabout just above Cala St Vincente. After taking that right hand fork, when you get to the edge of the cliff, you should be seeing this on one side, and our path will go down there. If you overshoot that turning off to the right there, don't worry, just keep on going down, following the cairns, make your way across the grassy, rocky area to that white hut in the distance. Then from there you'll turn left and go over the Sillar Pass. We're going to go down to that roundabout there and do exactly the same thing. Turn left, the Sillar Pass. We're actually descending on an extremely well-defined path from those crags that you saw at the top there, and we can get some speed up if we wish. Here we are, just looking back at those crags that we started to descend under. After about 35 minutes we've come to this craggy section here. Ultimately the path doesn't look that well defined, but you can pick something up. You want to come out of that hairpin down there. And after about 40 minutes of descent from the summit, we reach this hairpin bend. If you want to go to Cala St Vincente, you go downhill about 15 minutes. You want to go back to the Sillar Pass, which is the way we want to go, up to the roundabout, turn left. And after a few minutes up the Sillar Pass, you can look over to see where you've just come down from, the Talaia Vella. That white building I was talking about, if you overshot the fork in the path, you can keep coming down via the cairns, and finally you'll get onto the Sillar Pass by aiming for this. So, just down on the Puerto Pollenca side of the Sillar Pass there, the track turns into a footpath, and we'll take this all the way down. There's a minor roads that will lead us out to either the service road where you parked your car or the bus stop. Probably 15-20 minutes. As you have just seen, this hike from the popular resort of Puerto Pollenca is a great chance to reach some wonderful vantage points with breathtaking views within an hour or so from the start. From the bays of Pollenca and Alcudia on one side, to the Tonellis estate and the Cala St Vincente on the other. Also, great views into the central mountains and of course the famous Formentor Peninsula. If you try this one, I'm sure you'll like it, and if so, join me on another in the near future.